Oh, nice. I'm sure that's never been said before. All right, games. An online virtual trading game where you start with a random item, then keep trading your item until you've traded up for the most value by a set deadline. The winner gets a red paperclip.
Yeah, I love it. Well, that's the thing, right?
That's the thing. That's this
clip.
Canadian blogger, Kyle MacDonald, who started with a red paperclip and he ended up with a house.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I love that. I think that's just like, not enough people try to do that. And I know it's a thing. I think there's actually a Reddit subreddit about trading up for things. And people do it and see what they can get. And people get all kinds of crazy stuff.
How would that work as a game? Like I would assume an online multiplayer, how would you, and it's all virtual items, obviously.
Yeah.
But how would you, I don't even know how that would work, but I just love the idea of that. Like nothing is bought, nothing is sold. It's only what you can trade.
Right.
Sometimes the same item might be traded for something much higher value than another time.
Well, and I guess that happens in some video games now. You know, I mean, video games where, there's consumable things in the game, like where you buy outfits and whatever.
Right.
A community for aging video gamers. Does this one sound familiar?
La 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 la.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I play video games, right? Like I play like Call of Duty.
Right.
These games where two things happen to people of advancing ages.
Speak for yourself.
The biggest thing for me is I don't want to listen to or play with immature, like people yelling the N-word.
It's just a whole different mindset.
Like I want to play with 40-plus-year-olds that are in it because they only have a couple hours to play. So two things come about. You get better people that are on the same mental level as you.
Yeah, for sure.
So better communication, better vibe.
Well, isn't that why LAN games are more fun than these online multiplayer?
Just don't exist anymore.
I know, but isn't that why they were better? Because it's just the people that you know.
Play with your friends. Well, and that's what if you go read like reviews of any video games, a lot of the online games say like, oh, this great game is great to play with my friends. Yeah, well, guess what? When you get to be 50 years old, not as many friends play games anymore. So you don't have that community like you used to.
Yeah, things change.
Anyway, and the other part of it is just that like 12-year-olds' twitchy reflexes are better than your 50-year-old reflexes.
Yeah.
So the competition is harder and it just makes it frustrating. And it's just that we don't have the time to play 20 hours a week to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
So just like, I don't know if the video game creators need to just like kind of segment it out. It's just then it becomes harder to find games.
Isn't that why sites like Reddit have like, women over 30?
Yeah.
Because no one who is 21 is going to know what the problems are at 30.
Right,
you know what I mean? In-game chat translations during game streams or replays. And the reason I say this is because since you recently turned me back on to StarCraft, I've been watching a lot of game replays. And for whatever reason, many of the top StarCraft players are Korean.
Yeah.
And on a couple of games, there have been these long exchanges right when it's starting out and things are slow.
And you'd love to know what they're saying.
I'd love to know what they're saying. So I'm going down to like the comments, like, does anyone know what they said?
Yeah.
The game, host is kind of, focused on other stuff. And that's for a video of a game replay. Sure. Much harder to do than just a live game replay.
Right. There are some translation services out there that I could see making it work. A Rock Band-esque game with like a physical controller, where you are a bard in a fantasy game or in a, in an MMO type game like World of Warcraft. So where you actually have like a lute controller.
A lute controller. Have you ever heard those words uttered? I love it. Okay.
So you're the bard, like the bard is an important role in RPG games where he gives the group bonuses and whatnot by playing music for the group.
The first place that my mind went was, this is now in Renaissance medieval times.
Yeah.
What happens if the bard screws up? Then he gets his head cut off.
Well, what's wrong with that?
And so that could be like a part of the game where, if you don't do well enough, you don't just lose.
Well, that's what the next controller is a guillotine controller.
A virtual guillotine.
Yeah.
All right. a deck building game in the world of big corporations, startups, etc. You play a CEO and you develop your company. You start with R&D, technology, branding, market, ad channels, all that stuff. Your objective is to have as much reputation at the end scored via multiple tracks, that being profit, brand recognition, social environmental impact, technologies, etc. You would have to draft technologies, employees, infrastructure, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's cool. So
That
it's
would
like
be an interesting take.
so a collectible card game where you're like, play in big business and.
Yeah, I mean, God, there's just so many angles on that. It'd be super interesting. And it's almost like an anti-monopoly game, not Monopoly.
How about some better exercise-based gaming? I'm guilty of I don't like
like Wii?
exercise. Yeah, like the Wii or
Okay.
And I know like there are on the Peloton and on some of the interactive rowing machines, Aviron
Cycling
rower,
and all that. Yeah,
there are games built in.
Right.
The Aviron rower has some really good games on it. But like I think just more higher quality games, and I guess like most of those games are kind of like quick hit games, like you're racing against another person.
Yeah.
Or you're you're playing like a Tetris type game using the bike or whatever, and you got to speed up and make the pieces, whatever.
Yeah.
My point being, I'd like to see bigger scope games. So more like games like, big, higher production games like Grand Theft Auto style game.
Yeah.
Where you're walking. Now there's this, I don't know if you've seen it recently. There was Disney Imagineering put out this walking controller where you're walking, you can walk in any directions, and it has these like it's like a treadmill that goes in any direction.
I haven't seen that. Wow.
In just a small area.
That sounds
And they're
super
talking about
interesting.
using that in parks
Yeah.
eventually. And but stuff like that. And there was a controller like that, some treadmill that moved in multiple directions for games. I think that we will see that in the future.
I mean, imagine fighting, just a basic fighting game.
Yeah.
Even Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Street Fighter redone as a modern exercise game where every kick it's all timed and you're
like
using
there's like the Dance Dance Revolution
Yeah,
games,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
that. The VR games like Beat Saber, where you have the controllers and you have to swing the lightsabers and hit the things to the music and stuff. And you see people play these and they're sweating their butts off.
Yeah.
I think that we could definitely see some better, bigger titles.
The perfect crime, an escape room for the hive mind. So the idea is people anonymously post clues to a crime that others try to solve by asking questions. Many would be solved quickly because as people get better at figuring out how crimes are committed, like with any job, the more you do something, or game or whatever, the more you do something, the more you figure out very quick ways of getting to the answer with those questions. But it could also just be maybe AI-generated crime scene where only maybe you ask
it. Is it a
it
video game?
I would say an online, maybe not even a video game, just an online multiplayer, but not even necessarily a video game.
But it's not in real life. It's not
a real life thing. Maybe it could be, but let's just say for now it's an online multiplayer game.
Yeah.
And not even real time. Like it could be, anyone can come in at any time. Here is the crime. Here's what people have solved so far.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to ask? Maybe the whole thing is run by AI because you would need a smart way to figure out how people are asking questions, how clues can be delivered, and maybe a way where AI does not necessarily give up too much information at once.
Yeah.
Where even if you've asked, about who was present in the bar that night,
There's a game I started playing, and I need to go back to it. And it's like that, and you're kind of like a detective, and you have to go through these apartment buildings and look for clues, and you can get caught while you're like sneaking into people's.
Right.
You're like a private investigator.
Yeah, it sounds really fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And you go to like a diner, and you got to look for clues around the diner.
I would
and sneak
totally
in
dig
the back
that.
room and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty good game. I would love a real life based MMO RPG, choose your own adventure kind of game, where it's actually in real life, where you can go and get quests from people in real life. Maybe it's like stores get involved and you go to, and you talk to somebody and it's almost kind of like scavenger hunt-ish type things, but where you have quests and you have to do them in real life and you get real life rewards for them.
I'm struggling to see how, for example, Target is going to let one of their employees use up valuable time responding to a stream.
Well, if they're making money off it, they'll do it. But
if they're making, I was going to say, because initially it was like, oh, well, businesses, okay, so how would they monetize that?
Right.
Maybe by selling something from one of their stores.
Well, just to that gets people in the door. Maybe it's a subscription service where you pay $10 a month to be able to play this game.
Right. A real life adventure.
In different brands, I could see brands getting involved on the prizes or being involved in the quests. Like, okay, you have to go to Target and find a Nike sweatshirt that, whatever. Yeah. And you bring it up to the guy, and it's almost like kind of scavenger hunty, but I could see some other aspects.
I mean, I don't know. You guys know, like, how would you expand on that? What ways could either a scavenger hunt format or the choose your own adventure type format using stores, and how would stores be enticed to monetize that in a way where the game is fun for the players,
right?
And it's
got to be better than like
marketing angle for them.
The Monopoly game at McDonald's, which I don't know that they.
Oh God, I know.
It's stuff like that.
Yeah. An audio game, Blind Hunter. This is from Logical Maniac. Using no vision, only stereo headphones. You are in a forest or a city at night. You are blind. You must use your mouse to aim at your victim, but you cannot see. You rely on audio cues such as footsteps, sneezes, twig snapping, etc. And I believe the original idea was to make it a game that was for an assistive game for the blind or whatever. But using your other senses, I think for anyone that would be fun. Yeah. To use a game. And someone had weighed in and said, you should use HRTF audio, which I believe is some kind of, it still uses stereo headphones, but it's more of a spatialization thing based on I believe it's acoustics, how your ears receive sound. It can hear whether it's there forward, or here, back, right? And I just think in terms of just the interest level, a game where you can see either nothing or very little. Maybe you see the shadow of a passing monster and that's it. Right. And the rest is all, and also a playground for any audio designer out there, sound designers. Aim assist might be a thing. Right. Because otherwise, you're shooting within about 30 degrees of where this thing is. Yeah. Not just shooting, but...
I was going to say, maybe it's not a shooting thing.
It could be,
I could see it being
it could be a lot of things.
Yeah, something else. So.
And then a spectator view, which would be hilarious because the spectators can see what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could there be other parties in the game who can only see but can't hear? Right. Like that might be smell-o-vision. You see it coming. Right.
How about a Grand Theft Auto or World of Warcraft-like game? And I say those because everybody knows what they are, right? Like game where the online players are the NPCs. And they come up with the ideas. NPC being a non-player character. So normally the person you go up to and get a quest from, right? That would be considered an NPC. What about so if you and I are playing, you're at your house playing, I'm at my house playing, I can come up to you and you can give me a quest to do something real in the game. Like, hey, I need you to go to this castle, kill these 5 guards and collect the ruby gems and bring them back to me. And then you're able to give me a reward for that. So basically, it makes it more dynamic where the players are crafting the storyline and crafting the quests. I could see that being kind of cool.
Yeah. I love this kind of more real life stuff.
Yeah, well, I think that's where I'm at mentally. It's
like after a while, the online
I've
multiplayer.
Played all of it.
You want to kind of break out a bit of that mold, and the ideas around those. Like, what are the ideas for, in even a combination like hybrid versions? So you're managing a brothel, and you have your sex workers. Some of them are awesome. Some of them are irate. I don't know how that works. Maybe you can help out. Brothel owners. Purveyors of escort agencies.
I know we are big in the brothel niche. We have a lot of
I just think why not? I mean, it's 2024. It's an industry like any other. Why not jump right in? Let's do a game about this. How do you manage? Yeah. And now I don't want to go so far as saying, okay, be your own pimp on the streets. That gets us into some rough areas.
So that's like I think that was in one of the Grand Theft Auto games.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a little, I don't know, might be borderline, but running a legal, venue for sex workers, what's involved with that? How do you make a profit? How do you keep your Johns happy? How do you keep your staff happy?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do y'all think?
There's this game out there called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, I believe is the name of it. We've played it before. You might have played it at John's house. It's the thing where you have to defuse the bomb. Did you play that game with us?
The bomb.
It's a video game.
That's what it's called?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
And it's a video game where it's 2 players. And so you're on your computer playing. I'm on my computer playing. And I'm telling you instructions. You're in another room looking at a bomb, and you have to defuse it.
Right.
And so you're telling me like, okay, there's a set of wires. There's 4 wires.
I do remember that
wires
game.
Are red,
that
yellow,
game's
blue.
Hard.
Red, yellow, blue, blue. And I say, okay, red, yellow, blue, blue. Okay, is the serial number on the bomb this? And so you figure out all of these variables, and you take action based on how these different things line up.
Yeah.
I love these like 2-player games where one person sees one thing, the other person sees something completely different.
Collaborative.
Yet they collaborate and work together to accomplish something.
I mean, it's like escape rooms too. You have to work together.
Yeah.
People use their different strengths.
Yeah. I just want to see more of these like 2-player games where you're seeing completely different things. And accomplishing a common goal, but you have different jobs to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of room for a lot more cool games like that.